It's Happy Hour again from Central City, New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com, brought to us today by Petite Pet Care. If you're going out of town, if you're working late, or you have a school or work schedule that keeps you away from home and away from taking care of your pet, well, you could always get a new job, or you could let Petite Pet Care help you out. The folks at Petite Pet Care understand that some pets are fine going to a kennel or doggy daycare, but others prefer the comfort of their own home. And if that's your pet, Petite Pet Care will take care of your cats, dogs, fish, and birds, including chickens. I wonder how they take care of chickens. I suppose chickens need to be fed as well, like everybody
Poor
else,
little
right?
chickens.
Yeah. They're happy, I'm sure. Anyway, Petite Pet Care is insured, bonded, Red Cross, Pet, CPR, and First Aid certified, but most importantly, they love animals. For loving care when you're not there, Petite Pet Care can be found at their website, petitepetcare.com, or give them a call at 309-PET. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you, because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common, other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. In this case, we're at Casa Borrega on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in Central City, New Orleans. Casa Borrega is a bar, a restaurant, and a live music venue. Come down here and have a Mexican meal, have an awesome cocktail, and hear live Latin jazz most of the time, especially on the weekends.
All right.
And you can also join us for the next 60 minutes as we sit around here having a chat at Happy Hour. My special guests sitting around the table here today are in this order, alphabetically. Arita Bohanan. I said Arita like the Mexican way because Hugo makes me say Borrega every day. So now I've gotten a habit. What sort of a word is Arita? Is that Spanish, in fact?
No, my parents made it up. I wish there was a...
Where are they from?
They're from here. They're locals. They combined my two grandmothers' names.
What were they?
Adorina and Rita. And they argued about who to name me after, and they compromised in the middle.
Wow.
And now
That's a great story.
That is a great story to kick off the day.
Clever.
And now I have a name no one can spell. So
It sounds like it's like Anita with an R instead of an N.
Right.
And what were the other choices that could be the combination? What are those two names again?
Adorina and Rita.
Adorina and Rita.
Right.
So what if it'd been the other way around, if that was the second syllables of each name that they'd used? What would that be?
Drita?
I don't know.
It would have been awful.
Arita Bohanan is an author and an attorney who has a special interest in domestic and sexual violence, herself a victim of childhood sexual abuse. Well, this has taken a bad turn
Yeah,
already.
sorry about that.
Good heavens, we're only 1 second into the show. We're already on sexual violence and sexual abuse. Arita's life experience gives her a special passion in her work as an attorney, where she is a past winner of the Association of Trial Attorneys Trial Competition. Wow. And as an author, Arita's new novel, Docket No. 76, tells the story of an assistant D.A. who is given the case of prosecuting a man for sexually abusing a child, only to discover when she confronts him in court that he is also the man who sexually abused her as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What
It's
a
a courtroom
great
thriller.
idea.
It's
It's
a
a courtroom
whodunit.
it's a courtroom drama.
Yeah,
With
absolutely.
the DA has been sexually abused by the guy she's prosecuting for sexual abuse. That is
Right.
did you come up with that idea one night in the middle of the night when you'd had too much to drink, or what?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, because your husband owns a bar, so I'm assuming.
He does, yes.
I'm assuming that you must have had a few drinks that night.
I did.
What happened? How did you come up with that idea?
It's probably based a lot on my own history, and if you're a victim of sexual abuse, it's sort of how you would love the story to end if it happened to you.
It's like a fantasy.
It is. So I guess in some way I was, killing some demons with this book.
Well, we'll get onto that in a minute, because I'd love to know if that's worked when the demons are dead.
No.
Let's find out. Also, sitting to your left is Angela Catalano. Now, that does sound sort of vaguely Spanish, is it?
Yes, they're somewhere in the lineage, but my family's actually Italian.
They're
Southern
Italian.
Very much so.
Okay.
We got some
The
brunettes
nose.
Boy, we really get some foreigners going on here. Angela was lured to New Orleans from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to avoid the devastation of northern winters, to ride her bike year-round, and to start Shotgun Cinema. Shotgun Cinema takes over the Marigny Opera House once a month for film screenings of meticulously crafted dramas, conversation-starting documentaries, beautifully restored classics, and delightfully campy genre films. Hey, that sounds cool. Before her Southern Seduction, Angela was the programming manager for the 15-day Milwaukee Film Festival. That's a long festival.
It was,
That's a lot of
it was
films.
actually insane. Yeah, the last year's festival, that we had over 240 films, and all of which I was responsible for.
How many
so.
films did you have to watch to get 240 good ones?
I keep an Excel spreadsheet. Last year, I definitely topped over, I think, 2,000. So there was a lot, yeah.
2,000 films at what the average film is like, 2 hours long?
Some of those included short films. So short
Okay.
length can be anywhere from 30 seconds to 45 minutes.
30
So,
seconds.
I
That's
mean,
my
a
kind of a
little
movie.
Yeah,
That's what they
slightly
should all be
misleading.
30 seconds long. Then we,
I think that's why Vine is so popular. Everyone likes that. 6 seconds and you're done.
it's a 6-second movie. That's
Yeah.
right. So you watch movies all day, every day, basically.
For a lot of it, yes.
Wow,
It's a great gig.
What a gig.
Yeah.
Hey, also here is Travis Bird, who's a projectionist at film festivals around North America. Wow, what are the chances that you'd be a film festival programmer and sitting right next to you at Happy Hour would be a projectionist at film festivals around North America. Equal parts traveler, musician, and cinephile, Travis is fascinated by the artistry and simplicity of old machines, and also the artistry of Angela Catalano to his right. Travis and Angela met at the 2012 Milwaukee Film Festival and formed Shotgun Cinema. Based on Angela's talent at programming films, Travis' talent at screening them, and their joint belief that New Orleans would benefit from this combination. Correct.
We
Yes,
hope
it is
so,
correct.
yeah. It's
We
going-
do believe
So far,
We do
so
believe
good.
that.
Working together, Travis and Angela are aiming to establish an art house movie theatre with high-quality daily screenings of new independent and repertory titles on film and digital. Hey, so you guys are trying to set up an art house cinema here in New Orleans.
We
yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Are you looking for real estate?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Right
Yeah.
now we are.
You're looking for real estate right now. Where do you
Yeah.
think? I guess down the Bywater or the Marigny or something?
I think that would probably be a good first place to start, yeah. Kind
That's
of
where
think
we're
that.
currently looking.
Well, there's
yes.
Zeitgeist right down the street here, of course.
Right, we're in
Zeitgeist
Central City.
was
We're
this
just
thing,
yeah,
right.
that's true.
Well,
Are
you
you
pretty
in
much see
are
it
they
from
your
here, so-
competition or? would
No,
you-
not necessarily. I think we want to do something pretty different. Zeitgeist books great films, too. He gets a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of other films that can be seen on any given day. A lot of old stuff, a lot of stuff on film. It's a lot of fun.
On
that
actual film.
On actual
We need
film.
to talk to you about being a projectionist in just a minute.
Do you now?
Because I didn't know that was a whole gig. I didn't realize it was a specialty. I thought you just put the film in the thing and you know.
Oh, this is going to be longer than
Oh,
60
man,
minutes
man.
if that's what you think.
Oh dear. I want to introduce you all to Helen Gillet, who's sitting to my left. Hello, Helen. Helen's making her second appearance on Happy Hour. I'm surprised you've come back.
It's great to come back.
It's so good to have you back
What
I
are
got
we
the
in for
call
here?
about 3 hours ago.
I know. Christian Unruh, who books our music, he's really on like just a need-to-know basis. He's like an hour ahead of everything. If you don't know Helen already, she's a cello player who stepped out of the classical music mold in 1998 when she began training as an improviser with North Indian Hindustani vocal ragas.
Man.
Are we going
I
to
did not
go
know
through
that.
that
Good
whole
work.
sentence
Oh.
again?
Yeah, I just want to
North
hear you
Indian
say it again.
Hindustani vocal ragas.
Hindustani vocal ragas.
And that's not even mentioning that they're on the cello. I could have added cello to that, but it was already long enough.
Wow, that's true.
Arranged for
Anyway,
cello.
that launched Helen into the worlds of free improvisation, jazz, funk, rock, and French chanson, and soon found her recording with the likes of Cassandra Wilson, Dr. John, Marianne Faithfull. Imagine having all those people in a room at the same time.
That'd be
Dr.
great.
John, Marianne Faithfull, and Cassandra Wilson. Word, wouldn't
Oh,
it?
I don't know.
It's like, who would you
need
like to have dinner
you'd
with?
need like a referee.
You need an interpreter, that's for sure. Also playing with a wide range of performers from Smokey Robinson to the Mardi Gras Indian Orchestra, as well as leading her own trio and all-string ensemble Wazozo, which is playing around town, I see these days.
Yeah, we have a whole Zorchestra now, the Wazozo Zorchestra, just
Hey.
to
Just to come up with another
reinforce the
tricky word.
Z's.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're a 7-piece band now. It's really fun. We just played French Quarter Fest.
Yeah, that was great.
It was really
That's a
fun.
really that is a really cool thing you're doing. We're going to have a listen to you playing in a minute. Of course, Helen's latest recording is called Ferdinand, which is a collaboration with New Orleans bassist James Singleton,
That's right.
who's also a wacky guy.
He's amazing.
And he's a bass player who is equally as inventive and original as you are as a cello player.
Well, he is my teacher, so
He's your teacher.
I like to honor him as being my teacher, and we get in a little bit of a fight over who's more envious of whose instrument.
What do you mean? What's he teaching you?
Well, when I first moved to town, he was definitely a big teacher in how to be a bass player on the cello, because I really
Wow.
wanted to be a jazz cellist, and one of the comfortable roles to imitate as a cello player is the bass, obviously. I'm like a tiny bass, or I could be like a trombone or a guitar, or I basically was a chameleon out of necessity when I first moved here, just to join as many bands as I could with the cello. So, but he was my bass.
So you're trying to
Teacher.
imitate playing a bass on the cello so you'll get a gig? Is that what you're saying? You say if you don't have a bass player, I
mean,
can
that's
step in. That can't be right.
Basically, I'm
No. Really?
Not anymore, right? You
well.
can kinda go
No, now I think I've paved the way, and now I'm just like, you're going to hire a cello player. But before, I was just looking to get paid. And I was like, I could be your bass player for the night. I'll just play bass lines. And they're like, great, we need one. And I would sub in as a bass player or a violin.
Did you charge less because it's smaller than a bass?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to accept a little less pay.
What made you come here in the first place if there was no work?
I wanted to be a jazz. Actually, I did want to be a jazz musician, and I figured that I kind of just figured that the cello and whoever wants to come to New Orleans and has enough passion and creativity, and as my mom's Irish colleague used to say, she's got balls, like enough balls to get up on stage with your axe, whatever it may be.
That's a hugely brave thing that you do, sitting there by yourself on a stage with a cello, and then all these, but you build it into with all those loops and stuff. It sounds so amazing. It sounds like there's a whole band there, but it's just you.
Yeah,
but
I
you're
do that looping thing.
I was watching you the other day playing, and it's like you're possessed by something up there.
Yeah, I really am.
It's amazing.
I don't know I just love music. I love it. It makes me giddy, and it just keeps getting more and more strong as I get older. It's pretty awesome.
It's better than a relationship with a person, I would imagine.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a relationship with a person
Hope
as
my
well?
boyfriend's listening. No, he's also a musician, so he can relate too.
What does he play? Do we know him?
He plays a lot of different instruments, yeah.
Ah, he's a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Do we know him? Are you
What
allowed to
does that say
his name?
about him if he's a multi-instrumentalist?
What does it say about him?
Well, I don't
Can't get
I
it
don't
together?
know.
Can't commit?
I'm going to no comment on that, but yeah.
Is that right? If you can play more than one instrument, does that psychologically mean you have a fear of commitment?
Well, you just got a lot of love to give your
Yeah,
instrument.
okay. I don't know this. I don't even know this guy's name or who he is, but
Good way around
But
it.
on
That's
behalf
good.
of all men, let me just say this: everyone's got a fear of commitment, so he's no different than all of us.
No, he's
Am I right,
actually-
Travis?
I think you're right. Neil Young's written a lot of songs, but he's only played one guitar, one amp pretty much the whole time. So there you go. It takes different routes. That's
I
all.
think you're arguing against me with that one.
Oh well, yeah, kind of.
Are you guys a couple, Travis and Angela?
Yes.
So is that how you decided to move to New Orleans, because you're a couple?
No.
One of you convinced the other one to move here?
No, actually, we weren't dating, but that sort of came afterwards.
After
but no,
what?
Shotgun Cinema is basically our love child.
Yeah.
essentially.
So that's why I moved
Which
here.
one came first?
Awesome.
Couple, moving here, or Shotgun Cinema?
Shotgun Cinema.
Shotgun Cinema came first.
They came first. So you're in Milwaukee,
Correct.
both of you, which is not New Orleans, by the way, right?
Mm-mm.
Milwaukee,
No, it's
Wisconsin.
cold.
It's a long way
It's
away.
still
Yeah.
below freezing there right now, I think.
There was snow this
the other
week.
day.
It wouldn't even matter what month you're listening to this.
No.
show, you know.
There
It's
was
still
snow
freezing
yesterday.
in
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
July 2014.
No, I was living in Milwaukee, and Travis was living here. So I came in January of 2013. Only a year, just over a year
So
ago,
you've been
and
here
visited.
just for about a year.
No, I've
you
actually
came for
only-
a
She
visit.
came
Yeah.
to visit.
Yeah, I just came to visit.
And
Were you dating then?
No.
No, not really.
I think we're onto a rich,
Yeah.
fertile ground here. So what happened?
I came in between. I was actually traveling between film festivals, and so I had a few days, and he had invited me to come to see the city.
Why did you invite her?
Because I thought she would love this place.
But
And I wanted
did
some
you have
company.
designs on her? Or you
Oh, of
thought-
course.
So you thought there's a chance that I'd get lucky.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And were you looking for a relationship or just to have sex with her while she was here?
I
You
think
can
at
tell
that
us.
point, at that point, I have no idea what I was looking for.
Just someone.
It was
was-
a dark period in my life.
Was it that dark? Just a year ago.
Yeah.
A lot could happen
No.
in a year. I mean, I
Medium
was in
okay.
Milwaukee
Medium
3
dark.
months ago.
Medium dark. That's true.
Yeah.
She
As
moved-
say a gray area.
Yeah, it was a gray area. A gray
You weren't
period.
dating
a blue,
anybody-
a blue-gray
Are you
period.
depressed?
Mm.
I think we were both in the same place.
What was that? Depression, sad, lonely?
No, I think it was just like in
Restless.
between things. Yeah.
Kind of bored, restless.
What were you
The
doing?
ingredients
What were you
for-
doing here, Travis?
I was working at festivals and just kind of hanging out, you know. I moved here about 2.5 years ago, and I've been traveling for film festivals as a projectionist, more on than off, actually. So I spend a lot of time away, and I think I was starting to get tired of that. And Shotgun Cinema, in part, is a way to keep me here in town so that I can pursue our actual thing.
So you bravely, Angela, decided, yes, I'll come down and visit Travis, even though I didn't really know him that well.
Yeah, well, we had been
And I'll
friends.
stay with him
Well, we
in
met.
his apartment
Yeah.
in New Orleans,
You're
a city,
putting it
in a
together.
city you'd
Yeah.
never
There you
been to
go.
before.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that unheard of. right?
No.
Would you, right?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
you guys are great. That's an awesome story.
Oh,
of how
that's
to meet
normal.
you.
That's
well,
brave.
it was
Yeah.
funny. We had been friends, so we had met previously at the Milwaukee Film Festival. He was working as a projectionist, and I was doing programming.
15 days,
Yeah,
14 hours a
15 days
day,
of that.
Wow.
projecting films that she programmed.
Yeah, it was intense.
And every once in a while, you'd stop up to the booth and just be like, "How's it going?" I'd be like,
It was mostly drinking after hours
Right.
to sustain.
After 14 hours, you had 10 other hours to fill in, so why not start drinking?
So
So that's
most
why
of
you were
it-
set to move to New Orleans.
That's,
Yeah,
that's a
I-
film festival life. in a way.
Milwaukee's
Is it?
called Brew
Sometimes,
City,
yeah.
so
Booze City. Booze.
Brew.
Brew City.
yeah, for beer. I think
Okay.
they have the most bars per capita, based in neighborhoods.
Really?
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
there
every
a bar-
corner.
Isn't there a bar where you need a secret password to get
Yes.
in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They film
the,
you.
the safe house.
The
safe
safe house.
That's
Wow.
where I went there before my high school homecoming or prom. One
Yeah,
of the
no
two.
one actually really goes there.
Yeah.
It's a special
but it's really
occasion
funny
place.
that you know of it.
Is it like the dungeon or something?
No.
Is it? I barely remember actually.
God, the dungeon.
Hey, Helen, how do you know about the safe house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Well, I was in a girl punk band in Madison, Wisconsin.
What was
about
the name of your
14
band?
Well, this may be the first time I say this on the air, so
Okay, we're ready. Sitting down.
we were influenced by, Bikini Kill and La Tigra, and a slew of other bands that, like X-Ray Specs and all of those amazing Portland, Olympia, Washington girl bands. So, of course, our name was maybe quite not as good, but I think our music was really good.
I like where this is going.
And the band's name was called the Koochies.
Right.
I was in a
Awesome.
band called the Koochies that I'm actually very proud of. So I need to get comfortable saying that on the air more often because those ladies are still a really big part of my life, and I
Those
love
coochies?
those Koochies are some of my best friends.
Yes.
Are they still in Wisconsin?
Okay, that's a good sentence. That's a billboard.
You bring it out in people. It's good.
Can we expect a reunion here in New Orleans?
God, I
at some
wish
point?
I'm the only professional musician of the bunch, but I kind of want to cover our repertoire on my cello. They're very sexually explicit songs.
Okay, here's
That
the
would be
chance.
amazing.
Let's
You know,
do
I
one
just-
right
I-
now.
I would need to practice because I was actually the drummer.
You were the drummer
I
in
was
a
the drummer in the
punk
band.
band called
Yeah.
the Koochies. Okay, now we've really got somewhere now.
Badass.
Yeah, it was great.
So you're a
expressing
multi-instrumentalist as well then.
yourself. Yeah, so I am too.
Do you still have a drum kit?
I just bought the old Piety Studios.
Yeah.
Mark Bingham, who's a good friend of mine. I've recorded with him. It's changing of the guards over there, and he had a big sale, and I bought an old drum
Didn't
set.
know about that.
I bought
Oh my
this
God.
old Sonor drum set, and it looks really punky. It's really scrappy. I need to fill in like missing parts and stuff. But the bass drum pedal and the toms and stuff I bought, and the snare, and I'm really excited because I'm almost putting a hole through my cello. I'm drumming on it so much.
Yeah, you do hit
So
it.
I'm
Yeah.
really hitting it. I mean, I'm getting a little worried.
Have you ever
So-
thought about using a carbon fiber cello? Like Fred
Yeah.
Lomberg home uses one of those?
Yeah, Fred's a friend of mine. Actually, I've talked to him about those cellos, and I like them for his sound. But there's something about them that I think that
They kind of sound weird, don't they?
or they don't sound like a wooden instrument. Duh,
Yeah.
it's because it's not.
Totally, yeah.
If
But-
you ever want to start another all-girl punk band, I do play bass. I have a really gnarly.
right.
Yeah, I used to play in hardcore bands in Milwaukee, and so
Awesome.
it's a ridiculous electric bass. It looks like something that Slayer would play. It was based
Nice.
off of Tom Arroyo's bass.
I
so.
probably look good with the cello, with the
the drum
drums.
set, yeah.
drum set.
Okay, so we've got a rhythm section now for the
Yeah.
band.
I think
Already.
we've got our lead singer here too.
Yeah.
Arita, do you
Sorry,
sing?
ladies.
Nothing?
No.
Let's talk about writing novels in a minute, but first of all, let's make Helen play something. See,
all right.
we've got to this point. You don't think you got up for playing one of the Koochies originals?
God. I don't
Just
even
try,
know.
just
That
try
would be
something.
awesome.
See if you can remember anything. What was the big song the Koochies hit?
They were all
Hit
so
single.
raw and raunchy. They were raw and raunchy.
we can deal with raw and raunchy here, can't we, guys?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
into it.
well,
If you
one
could-
was about how women should get their rocks off more.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I think we'd all agree with that.
So it was like
I know I would.
Yeah.
All I want is to get my fucking rocks off. All I want is to get my fucking rocks off. All rock star.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's
Very
my
nice.
cello playing for everybody. I hope
So
you like it.
how did that go in a sort of rehearsal scene? How'd that work with the band? Did you bring that one in, or what happened?
I actually wrote that one.
Yes, it's a little song I wrote myself.
But we played that in the basement of this house. I was living with the lead singer of the band, who was actually more of a women's literature kind of
Sophisticate.
student and sophisticate, and she was going through a lot of personal trauma actually, and that was her way of getting it out, was through writing all these songs. And she wrote a lot of amazing songs, and then our bass player is a friend of mine who is now a teacher in Berlin, and then it was just a great group of women, and we all went into the basement of this house we were living in. They have basements in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And
everywhere. The tornadoes.
Yeah. So it's very, very convenient for loud bands, and we just got together once a week, if not twice a week, and just played and played and played. And I think we had 4 shows, and that's it. But we made a splash in Madison. So I think that there's actually one cover of one of our songs out there. Like a band was like, "We're gonna cover this song
We're gonna
called
cover the
Damelo."
Koochies.
Yeah.
Domino.
Yeah.
How'd that go? What were the lyrics of that? That sounds almost like
Damelo, damelo, damelo ahora was the chorus.
okay.
Saucy.
What does
There are
that?
other words too, but I'm going to stop
What does
there.
that mean in English?
It means give it to me.
Give it to me now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're working it out, you've got to express yourself. And we were living in a very collegey town, and it was very frat boy oriented, and we were kind of sick of it. And so we thought we'd sing about how we don't really want to go out and party and feel like it's a meat market out there. We want to
Just
do
get
it
my
our own
rocks
way.
off.
We just want to get our rocks
Now.
off now.
Give it to me now. Did that?
Actually, I will have to. One of the last lines of that song is "Feed me spaghetti, feed me spaghetti."
So it's a cop
feed
out.
me spaghetti now.
Now.
Yeah.
So it's a cop out at the end because you weren't saying "fuck me," you were saying "feed me spaghetti."
Well, I didn't say the other words to the song yet, but that was just the
Oh.
end, and you'll have to wait for the album,
For the
to,
album
come
to
out.
come out. Okay. What's the album going to be called? I wonder.
I'm not
The
sure.
Koochies, I guess. Koochies 1. Look at you. So I don't mean to embarrass you with the.
Oh, it's
Talking
awesome.
about the
It's
Koochies.
awesome. I've been wanting to talk about this band, actually.
I'm dying to hear it now. Is it
Yeah.
on the internet anywhere? If we,
No.
if someone is googling
If
this
you-
right now,
if
I
you-
can
Is
tell
there
you
a
that. I
MySpace
guarantee
page?
you.
Yeah.
If you Google it, you might be able to find something out there.
COOCHIES.
No, it's K with a K.
K.
Oh,
Is it a
okay.
U with an umlaut, or is it?
Oh,
Not cool.
genius.
Nice.
That's-
Not
that's-
Koochies.
Hey, where are you from originally? Because your accent has completely disappeared altogether now.
Well, I'm a hybrid. I was born in Belgium. I lived in Singapore 9 years, but my mom's American, so we moved back to Belgium. Then we moved to Chicago, and she's from Chicago, which is why
Oh,
I'm a
cool.
Midwestern
That explains that.
connoisseur.
But,
Whatever.
Did
you
you
know
go to
something?
school
The
in
last
Madison?
time-
Beloit.
Beloit.
Beloit
Oh, okay.
College.
Beloit College.
Yes.
Hang on a
Good
second.
music there.
Last time you were on Happy Hour, which I guess was about 25 years ago, you had a real accent actually. You had
What?
you
No, I
you?
didn't.
Didn't you have like more of a Belgian accent?
I just
Am I
sang
just making
in
that
French.
up?
I think you
You
remember
did
because
sing in
I
French,
sang in
yes.
French, so you probably heard it
Oh,
after
okay,
that.
I must have.
Like
just
right now, I'm
imagining
talking
it.
about a
Right.
girl punk band in Madison, so you're like,
Yeah.
who is this girl from Belgium?
What's
but-
this Belgian chick talking about?
Yeah, but if I started singing in French, then maybe after that you'd be like, wow, listen to that French accent.
Maybe that's what happened to you. I mean, somehow in my mind, I think of you as
Maybe.
speaking French.
But yeah, I grew up speaking French and English, so
That could be
I'm
why.
fluent in French, but I don't. I
Do
know
you
I don't
know
sound-
any Hindu?
No, and I barely know 2 ragas, but I.
I'm not going to make you play a raga unless you
Yeah.
would like to.
Well, you need a drone. If you guys could all
Oh,
drone
yeah.
for me.
Travis is a musician as well.
That's
Well,
great.
we got a lot of real estate to get to yet. So let's have a listen to a song.
Okay.
What do you want to play, by the way?
Well, since I mentioned French song, why don't I do one of those?
Okay.
After that, awesome.
You can redeem yourself.
I don't know. I don't think I can top that last thing. All right. up a lot of room. It's like playing at Yuki. You get, like hitting the wall. Let me move this. Just moving the furniture around. All right. Je ne sais pas pourquoi j'allais danser à Saint-Jean, vos musettes, mais il m'a suffi d'un seul baiser pour que mon cœur soit prisonnier. Comment ne pas perdre la tête, serré par ses bras audacieux, car l'on croit toujours doux mots d'amour quand ils sont dits avec les yeux. Moi qui l'aimais tant, je le trouvais le plus beau de Saint-Jean. Je restais grisée sans volonté sous ses baisers. Just a little snippet of that song.
Oh, that's what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I want
make you
to
do some
get to know everybody here.
Okay, we'll make you do some more later.
All
on.
right, that's fine.
So I did hear that was interesting watching you play that, because there is like a bass line and a sort of whatever that other called, like
An arco
like
line.
arco. That's called, is it?
Yeah, or the bow. Arco's the
Yeah.
Italian.
Arco.
It's fun to say.
A-R-C-O.
Yeah.
It's like the gas, isn't that called arco as well?
Argo, I think.
Argo. that
Is the gas.
Is it?
Argon.
Or argo is
Argo
like
was a
Argo
movie.
is cornstarch.
cornstarch. Thank you.
Close.
I don't know if you could run a car off that.
They're probably working on it.
Yeah,
probably.
okay.
So Arita, did you start off writing novels? This is your first novel, Docket.
First novel.
What's the docket number?
76.
Docket 76. Is that significant of anything, or you just picked the number?
I randomly picked the number.
Right.
It's
So-
got a nice ring to it. I like that.
I know,
does.
right?
hmm
I tried a few numbers. I don't know.
It's such a great story. Unfortunately, it's based on a true story
Sort of.
from your own
Right.
child. Well, the fantasy of getting back at the sexual predator
Right.
in a courtroom is an amazing device. It's like a movie or something. Have you had anybody thinking about making a movie out of it?
I just got a Clarion review back, and they said that this would be the book for any Law and Order fan
Yeah.
out there, which I took as a
Wow.
huge compliment.
That's great.
So,
Solid,
I
yeah.
know. But, my husband, who's been on the show before, I wouldn't be surprised if he's filming somewhere right now. He seems to kind of be the guy that make those kind of things happen for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's working on it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So you talked about before, you mentioned that you think you came up with the idea and you wanted to write this confrontation story to get the demon, to get demons out of your system. Did it help you?
Yes, in an unexpected way, because I've been asked to speak about it. And when the book first came out, I had sent it to a couple of my family members to look at the proof, just to get some opinions about how it looked. And, some of my aunts were worried about putting it on the cover that I'm a victim of sexual abuse, because it's never really been out there before. And, they were concerned with me saying it out loud. And really the backlash that I didn't expect was how it affected my dad, because he was in the military when it happened, and it was another soldier who did it that was the offender. And this sort of opened some huge wounds for him that I didn't see coming. But
In what sense? That he felt responsible, that he hadn't done anything about it? Or?
Absolutely. Well, no, they prosecuted. He held him accountable. My dad did. He was going to lose his life, or he was going to lose his freedom, one or the other, basically. And so he stood up for me. But I didn't realize, he's always been the hero figure for me, but I didn't realize that this was going to be personally painful for him. And it has been. But it's good, because now he talks about it too. We've been invited to go to a couple military bases together. So it's
So the military
That's
wants
really
you.
fantastic.
The military
Yeah.
wants you to talk about it.
Yeah, because mine is a positive story, and there's a lot of negative stories with the military. But with mine,
It's an upbeat story about sexual abuse of a child.
it's as happy of an ending of sexual abuse as you can get. But, the military did the right thing by me. They stepped in, they prosecuted, they removed him from my dad's unit. And I think a lot of times these things are kind of glossed over, and I think the military especially, for whatever reason, it seems like they get coined with that. And with me, that just wasn't my story. My personal story is that there were several heroes involved, and they stepped up at the right time for me. And it's led me down. I became an attorney, for crying out loud. It could be my JAG officer. I remember her distinctly. She was a female and young, and so maybe that's why I ended up here. Who knows? But I know the story's been written for several years. I couldn't hit print for one reason or another. And finally I did, and I'm glad I did.
When you grow up as a victim of child abuse like that, there must be most of the people in your life don't know anything about it. They just know you as the person they met at school, the person they met at work, or the person they met through someone else and met at a dinner party. No one defines you as a victim of sexual abuse. But now, if you go public like that, that's what everyone thinks about you first. Does that change how you interact with people now?
I think you're right. I have had some of that. I've had it, on Facebook. I have close to 2,000 friends on Facebook, and I've received 100 emails probably from different women saying I never knew, and or would you mind talking to my daughter? It's happened to her. Or it's strange how it has affected so many people besides myself. But I do worry that sometimes now, or the other kids at school, I've been married for 16 years, so I don't know what the dating world's like anymore.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
you're really missing out.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Right, Helen? Look at these two lovebirds over here.
I know, right?
This is what you're missing.
I know. I didn't get to move to some exciting city. I'm stuck here with my husband for 16 years.
Well, you go on a book tour, and then he doesn't know what's going on.
I know,
all,
right? Yeah.
And he owns a bar. He owns a number of bars.
Yes, he does. But he's not a bar guy. I know that sounds weird.
It's like a drug dealer.
Yeah,
he doesn't actually do the drugs. He just sells it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he occasionally does the drug, but he occasionally drinks. But for the most part,
he's not a boozer and staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, I mean, we have 2 kids and 2 dogs, and we're kind of boring in a way, which is great in a way.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think the dating world is like, you guys? You're both in the dating world, or you're out of it now.
Terrible.
It's shocking.
No, I really don't like dating.
Travis, do you like it?
Yeah, but it's distracting. It's just, there's a lot of stuff to do, and if you're dating, if you're focusing on that, it's just blah.
It's hard to build a career and then date. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the time of life that you're doing it. I found it really difficult.
So you get that off the table.
What?
You get that off the table. You get dating off the table, so you can focus on
or you
career.
stay single. Yeah.
So you don't believe you can do both effectively at the same time?
Well, maybe. I couldn't.
Some people can't. I can't. Yeah, I can't handle that.
No,
I have a hard enough time just
I choose work.
eating breakfast in the morning.
You have a hard enough time eating breakfast in the morning?
Yeah. Sometimes we just start working and then I forget to eat.
So you're driven?
I think so.
Driven to project?
Not yet. No film yet in this city. But yes, driven to project somehow.
So you're a musician as well, but can we just talk about projecting movies for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I've always thought, and you guys see if you agree or disagree with me. Not you, Angela. You're not allowed to say anything. But I thought the projectionist was the lowest of the low. I thought there was a guy who just stood there and smoked cigarettes and waited for the film to end, and then took the reel out and put it back in again, and they had to wait for people to shuffle in and out of the theater and then do it all over again. I didn't know there was an art to that.
There is very much an art to that, and there are people that are like that. And there are people that have it even easier because with digital projection, you ingest the movie onto a hard drive. The hard drive plays back through a projector, so you literally only have to press play. But there's so much more that goes into it than that. So much preparation, alignment, servicing projectors. I mean, with film as well, and now, I don't know. I think there's a way to look at it where it's just a job, which maybe back in the day when film was the normal thing to project, that was the way people saw it. But now it's kind of becoming more of like a real appreciated skill set that not a lot of people have, or less people have.
Well, in everyone's profession, there's people who just phone it in and do it as a job, and there's people who take it seriously. Yeah. But if you take it seriously, in your case, what does it entail? What does the really great projectionist do? If I went to a movie, could I tell the difference?
You probably could. So it involves service as well. But, I mean, if you think about a movie image on screen, I mean, it has to be filling the screen, ideally, because otherwise you have these little bars around it, or like black or white or something, and you're seeing extra image, or if it's overshooting the screen and it's too big.
You see that quite a lot where it goes off the bottom of the screen, right?
Absolutely. And you notice that. People do notice that.
Yeah.
Or they perceive it, even if they don't notice. And then with the film, there's real changes sometimes. And that's a matter of timing where you have to
Now, what does that mean? You see those little dots on the movie?
You see the dots, exactly.
Is that when you know how to...
That's when you know. So what you have to do is you have 2 sets of dots. One set is about, let's say, 8 seconds before, or maybe 10 seconds before the end of the reel. And then there's a second set of dots right at the end. So if you have 2 projectors, the one is doing the film, and you have to stand at the other projector and look through the port really closely and just focus on the dots. And when you see the first set, you have to turn on the second projector. So it starts the film going at the leader, and it's aligned such that when you see the second set of dots, you hit a button, and it automatically switches over to the other projector.
So it's totally
at
visual.
the exact right moment. Totally visual.
So
but tactile as well, because it's this big ka-chunk, kind of like, it's a big mechanical system that you have to activate.
But it's visual in the sense of what the cue that you're going to get is
the cue
for you
is visual,
only
exactly.
visual. There's no...
Yeah. And it's a performance as well. I mean, you have to perform it at the exact right time. It's not something that can really be done automatically or...
Well, you think it would be able to be done automatically, wouldn't
yeah,
you?
you would,
Right.
right? Well,
it's a
there
dying
are
art,
ways
though,
to do
too.
it.
That's the problem, is that what he's describing is called changeover projection, and that's how most prints right now are archived. So there's another form of projection where they put them on platters, but that causes more wear and tear on film prints. So archival prints will not let you project them if you have what's called a platter system.
Yeah.
So if you've never been taught how to do changeover projection for 35 millimeter, you won't know how to thread everything and how to actually change it over. So yeah, it is very physical, and it's an art that will hopefully not die, but it
will
could.
inevitably has to die, doesn't it? I mean,
Right.
aren't we
It'll
going to go all
change.
digital?
Digital doesn't have an archive format, so there are film archives where where films are kept in climate control, but there's no such thing as a digital archive. There's not an archive medium yet.
If you think about a film print, I mean, we can think about this with like our laptops, our iPhones or whatever, or cell phones. We've had to like get a new one every 2 or 3 or 4, 5 years maybe. So that's the same with digital films. Every 5 years or every so number of years, definitely in the single digits, you're going to have to migrate to a new format. So and
like
there's
like we used to have to, like everything was on like a floppy drive,
right,
and then it was on
floppy
a
drive. It's on a
zip
hard
disk
disk,
or something.
and then a
yeah.
zip disk, and then a thumb drive, and then a bigger thumb drive,
Right.
and then a hard drive.
So that's the same with movies, going through the same...
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
your
all
hard
data.
drive will eventually die, right? So that's the same thing if you're putting films on hard drives, that will eventually die as well.
And
So we're gonna lose
there's
all
no
those-
well, possibly because there's no standard for how to migrate that data. So once a CD, I mean, think like anything that's been recorded or saved digitally, it can be just lost unless you migrate it. But a film print, if it's climate controlled, can last for 100 years or more.
But people aren't going to shoot on film anymore, right?
There are some people still shooting on film.
But by and large, it's
By and large,
uneconomical, I
it's-
suppose.
Yeah,
Well-
Kodak is getting rid of film stock.
I disagree.
Well, that will be the end of that once
Oh, wow.
Kodak is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I disagree that it's uneconomical. I think that it
really?
Yeah, I think it just passes the costs onto a different person to shoot digitally.
But look at our photographer Douglas Engel here taking photos
on his iPhone.
on his iPhone, which come out great. He takes I don't know how many thousand photos while he stands around here during the show, for us to get a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
That
And-
phone will die in a few years, whereas if you have a film camera, you can keep servicing it and repairing parts.
But we couldn't afford the film. We couldn't afford to
But you had to buy a $600. But the iPhone cost $600. Whereas
so in
if you
4
were
years
to
you
buy
have
a
to
roll,
buy
if you were to
another
buy a
one.
roll of film and take it to I don't know if you were
Walgreens.
Walgreens. I don't. Do they still?
Yeah.
develop
I don't
them?
even
They
know.
do?
Right?
Wow, cool.
That's actually
Yeah, they
really
do.
That's
amazing.
far less money. I mean, less photos, but it just changes the way that you use the technology. My point is that the digital is not the magic bullet for that stuff. And I think if you're shooting on film, it may cost more for film stock and to, print it onto the final print or whatever, but there are also huge costs associated with hard drives and digitizing like a digital film and all that stuff. I mean,
And
it's,
who's going
it's
to
all
make the
there.
final decision? It's going to be in the hands of the money makers,
Yeah, of
or
course.
the people who have the money
The
to make
decision's
movies.
pretty
I
much
mean.
already been made.
It's been made.
Yeah, it
You're
looks
right.
like
Digital
studios are talking about
projection.
dumping these movies into the movie theaters by
Yeah.
digital instead of having to ship them all around the country and
Yeah.
around the world. And
Yeah, so those
reel.
projectors, a lot of our smaller cinemas are doing like Kickstarter campaigns to raise money to purchase these digital projectors.
Well, what are you going to do? Because you guys are trying to open a theater here.
And
and
we're
you're going to
very
have all
fortunate
the
we have
formats.
one.
You have a
We
projector.
have one.
You-
We have one.
Yeah, and we have to put the infrastructure in place every 5 years. You may need to replace it, and those pieces of equipment can range between 40 and I don't even know, $70,000.
70, 80,000. Yeah.
Wow.
So
For a
that's-
projector.
Yeah,
Well,
so
per
that's
screen, because you also need some other stuff to go with it.
Yeah.
It's not just the
So that's
projector,
nothing to
but
do with the building. That's just the
That's
the
just
equipment.
So that's the long-term effect of it. So with a film projector, you can replace parts, and you can keep the same projector for some of these projectors were made in the 50s and they still are operational. So
Right.
it's more of like you're deferring the cost versus now everything is sort of a little bit more instantaneous. But in the long run, it will be substantially more expensive.
Okay, so where's the theater going to be, do you think, in New Orleans when you...
Boy, I wish we knew.
Yeah, well,
It's, I mean,
do you have a realtor?
now we're working on it.
we have two that we're sort of working with.
Yeah.
We're looking at rental venues. Probably the Marigny Bywater area is right now, I think, where we're conceiving of it.
And the word
because there
shotgun in
isn't
New
one.
Orleans is a strange word to choose. I mean, there's a house called a shotgun.
That's
Is that where it comes from? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a long, thin...
That's where it comes from. And kind of the sort of DIY feel. I mean,
Right.
very homey and overgrown and everything.
Okay, so Angela, you came down here for a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days for a vacation the first time?
Yeah, it was probably about 5 days maximum.
5 days, okay.
Yeah.
So what happened?
I just really loved it. It was really unexpected. I just thought I was going to come and visit. 'Cause I was doing
What temperature was it in Wisconsin?
It was
probably
it was like I came from
10
the
or something.
Sundance Film Festival where they had an ice storm, and so I flew. It was like an 18-hour travel day, and I got here and it was 80 degrees, and I was like, ah. And then I saw the city, and it was.
Where did you take her, Travis? Where's the first
Oh.
I
place?
took her to Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
And
we saw a movie there. Yeah.
we saw a movie there, and she was like, Angela, I mean, yeah, should I go there?
No, I mean, I was surprised by, there's so much film production here, and there are basically, now there seems to be like 3 actual spots, and one of which popped up in January, not including us. So if you have Zeitgeist downtown and you have Britannia uptown, where else do you go in the city? I mean, there really isn't anything
Well,
else.
Britannia is not really an art cinema. I mean, it's a standalone
No.
theater,
I mean,
but it
that's-
has
the closest
new
thing.
movies.
Exactly.
Right. So it was that seemed like a huge gap. And we kind of joked about it, like, whoa, what if we just had our own cinema? Like, very arrogantly. And then we kind of pieced together what we needed to do to make it happen. So,
Well, I think the
Then-
time is perfect now for this. I mean, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of
Oh,
new
yeah.
people in New Orleans who would love to do that sort of thing, and the people who are staying here who aren't leaving
right.
who would go to that too, and all of us would go to it actually, sitting at this table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hurry it
That's
up.
great.
Yeah, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
So
that's-
where do you get
that's
the
pretty
movies?
much all we've heard.
Where do you get the movies from
You-
then when you do this?
I reach out to distributors. So in my previous job, I worked, I developed relationships with different distribution companies. So what you do is you find who has the rights to a film, and you contact them and negotiate a price, and then negotiate what kind of exhibition format, which
so
is
it's
what you
so
plan.
like a businessy thing. You're
It
like,
is, yeah,
So you're
it's
like a
very-
business person.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
Travis
more-
is like
That's
more
our-
of an artsy guy.
No, we're both business people at
Really?
this point.
Yeah.
The art is
It's mostly
mixed in.
logistical, actually. I would
Yeah.
say more logistics, and the creative part is the sexy part of it. Yeah, we watch movies all the time, but that is such a small part of it.
And what are you doing to pay the bills? Do you have a job and everything, or
Yeah, I wait tables.
you do? Whereabouts?
I'm at the new vegan restaurant called Seed on Britannia and Thalia, not
There's
super
a
far
new
from
vegan restaurant on Britannia
Wow,
and
it's
Thalia.
fantastic.
I didn't even see this.
It's
I have
delicious.
been past that actually.
It just opened 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, I just noticed it the other day when I went past there actually.
It's
Seed,
lovely.
and
I
it's
would be
vegan.
happy to serve you at some point if you'd like
Okay.
to come get dinner or lunch.
What do they serve there? Vegetables, I suppose, mostly.
Well,
all steamed vegetables.
Steamed
No
vegetables.
spices.
Great
No,
for the diet.
yeah, they've got really great nachos.
Do they?
Vegan nachos, yeah.
The club sandwich was really good.
Yeah.
It's hard to know when the joking ends and the serious bit begins. but
No,
do
we're
they-
well, yeah, we're actually both vegan. So
You're vegan as well.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so were you vegan already before you met?
No. I became vegan after moving here. I don't
After
know.
moving
I
to
have
New
no
Orleans, I mean,
idea
is
why.
that
I
really-
know. It's so
Seems
backwards. So
counterintuitive.
backwards.
That's
so
really
backwards.
interesting.
Yeah, it just had to happen. But I feel great. I love it.
But you did it before Angela moved here, so she
Yeah.
didn't drag you into veganism, or
Right,
did you drag
exactly.
her?
no, both of us.
No, we met in
we
the
had our-
middle. We
yeah.
both-
I'm
yeah.
lactose intolerant.
Was
I
it
can't.
you're
do dairy.
lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Was it on your Match.com profile?
Sorry.
I fortunately have never had to do that. I would sooner be single than do the online dating thing. It freaks me out.
Really?
It does.
Helen,
yeah,
have you ever done that?
Oh, I have.
Is
I
it
have.
scary?
I did
I
it
just-
once.
I
And I
imagine it being
actually, what's
scary.
really funny about this story is that I did it anonymously in Madison, and then
I like how this all goes back to Wisconsin.
I said, I figured I could hide there, and I was like,
yeah,
I didn't
because
even.
you're just a drummer in a punk band.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
hey, who isn't?
But then I moved here, and a guy contacted me. And I said, well, I actually live in New Orleans, and the guy said, me too.
Whoa.
Nice.
And
that's
so I
bizarre.
couldn't escape. And so I
Ooh.
went out on a date with this guy, and we went to the Britannia. And
Oh.
it,
Oh.
it was awful.
How
The movie was pretty bad.
Did
Do you remember the movie?
yeah? Which movie?
I
was
don't
it?
remember anything. I've blocked it out,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and I'm really sorry if
If he's
he's
listening.
listening.
Well, they didn't have computers when I started dating.
We
so
weren't
don't-
matched.
That's how long it's been since you've been out of the
That's
loop.
exactly-
It's really good for you, though. I think
Yeah.
much
sure you're not missing
healthier.
anything.
Helen, what kind of it's an interesting thing because if you're, I mean, what kind of a date is going to a movie? You don't get to know somebody at a movie.
Well, I think I
Unless you
chose
tried
it
to
on
feel you up or
purpose
something.
because I actually wasn't really excited about going on a blind date. I
Right.
was feeling weird about it. I shouldn't have even gone, but I thought that
But you never know.
we'll go.
It could have
and-
been the most. I mean, it was a pretty
It's
weird
true.
story. It could have been the best person that you've ever met.
It's true. That's true.
I went on
And,
a great first date to a movie one time.
There you go.
You did.
But it was only because we talked about the movie afterwards, and it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought, like, yeah, we're not really talking. I wonder why we're
Yeah.
doing
Because you're
this.
watching a movie. Did
Yeah,
you, had you
right,
thought about that
exactly.
one?
Yeah, we kind of like touched forearms, and I was like,
Oh,
whoa, whoa.
that is a strange thing to go.
That was with
a
Kelly.
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, you guys know each other's ex-boyfriends and girlfriends
She's
already?
my
She lives
roommate.
with her.
Yeah.
Your roommate.
Yeah.
That was
I know
here.
this story
you
is
went
going
on
to
a
get.
you went on a blind date.
Oh, no, this
I
is
mean-
ages ago, Chicago ago.
Your
Chicago,
your
yeah.
blind date in Chicago ended up being your roommate in New Orleans, Ange?
Well, I
Yeah.
met her through him. Actually, we became really good friends.
So you stayed in touch with her
Oh,
after
yeah.
the
I moved here
conversation.
I moved here with her.
Okay.
So-
So it wasn't just it wasn't just one date. It worked out to be a real
Yeah,
relationship.
exactly.
And then you moved to
But
New
it
Orleans.
began
you,
as a
you
first
gave
date.
up eating meat
Yeah.
and everything.
And so did she.
eggs.
So did
So
she. So did she.
Okay.
That happened in
So did she.
Chicago.
Right.
Oh no, you said
Yeah,
that.
here,
Never mind.
yeah.
That
Well,
was
here.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so she quit eating. She became a vegan here as
Yeah,
well.
she also did.
So what went so wrong for you in dot.
I think we got bored.
Really.
Yeah.
So
better-
and that was when you were in a bad space, in a grey area.
Exactly.
Right.
When you're sort of
Exactly.
just turning vegan and no one to hang out with.
Exactly.
So many vegan restaurants had yet to open. So, oh
and then along
gosh.
came. And this is a sort of a romantic little story.
Oh,
though.
You're
that's
like you're like
wonderful.
the voice of Match.com.
I need to get an endorsement. I mean, sponsorship from that.
Absolutely. You really should.
I should.
That-
Well, it's a
that's
bit late when
great.
they've already met, though.
I know.
You know,
you're-
this
No,
is
but
sort
for
of-
future episodes,
Yeah.
you never know what's
Well,
going to
You're-
happen.
what you're
when
doing
you
is
bring in
narrating the
strangers.
story.
Yeah.
It's all about
It's more.
the story.
It's your story.
You're making our story sound way better than I
Yeah,
think it actually is.
she's blushing.
Really?
Well,
I think it sounds quite exciting and
Never mind,
romantic.
it's
All
the
those
Dos-
traits.
It's
The
just a
Dos
Dos
Equis sign.
Equis sign. Is she blushing or is it the Dos Equis sign? That's
I
a
don't
new
often
country
blush.
song waiting to happen.
When I do, it's with Dos Equis signs.
But it is pretty interesting that your girlfriend, who you moved here with, you're still friendly and
now
and
friendly with, but yes.
now friendly. Okay, so it was a rock. It's a grey area there for a
Yeah,
while.
that was a gray area.
And
yeah,
she's-
total gray
and
area.
Angela, she's your roommate, but of all the women in New Orleans, why would you want a room with your boyfriend's
She's-
ex-girlfriend?
She's a really incredible woman. We became really good friends.
I think you needed a place to stay when you moved here, right?
Well,
Also-
I mean there was that too.
So you
but
didn't
I
move
was
in
gonna,
together, obviously, which is what
Mhm.
I expected.
No.
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 No,
Oh,
No.
Do you live by yourself, Travis?
No, I have roommates. I have 2 roommates. They're, they're fine.
There's nothing wrong with those people, right?
No.
No, not at all.
Before
Not
you
at
get home
all.
and find all your stuff on the side.
Yeah, right. No, they would almost definitely not be listening to this, but
Why is it? Because they're heathens and stupid?
no, they're just busy. One of them's in
Busy. Everybody's busy.
I'm the heathen. No, they're great. I just don't see them very often.
That's the best kind of roommate.
Really?
Exactly.
I just
Right.
like the idea that you either listen to the podcast or you're heathen and stupid.
Well, I was trying to
That's a
think of
great
what kind of person
endorsement.
would be not listening to this podcast.
That's
Well,
true.
so obviously,
Yeah, obviously a heathen.
obviously,
ends very
would it be
stupid.
someone who's too smart to listen to a podcast? Sure,
Not a
would it?
smart heathen. No, it'd be a stupid heathen.
Stupid
yeah.
heathen. There you go. That was my thought. Hey, listen, we're running out of time, so Helen, I have to make you play something.
All right.
You can play anything you want. It doesn't have to be a
I'm
1
gonna
minute.
improvise a
Wow.
little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna take these headphones off.
You
again.
can certainly do that if you'd like. Okay, I got
Give
it.
them to you. This is dedicated to Mrs. Banks, who called my music The Exorcist if it was a love story. Just a little bit of something for you.
Yes.
Yes.
This is back. That's a very physical job you have there.
Yeah.
You're used to seeing people in the orchestra play the cello. It looks very sort of... sometimes there's a lot of physical work going on with the bow and everything, but not like that. You're actually slapping the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's the slap bass thing.
Yeah. Does that hurt?
It feels good. I've always wanted. My hands are disgusting right now because I was just in the mulch of my garden. But anyway, they're extra dirty. But I usually get a nice big bass callus that I'm actually really proud of it. I've been working my whole life to get a callus like this.
All right, let's have a look at it.
I know you can't
I'm
see
not a
it
doctor.
on the podcast, but you can feel
No.
it.
It's huge.
Oh, it's pretty hard. So the
It's
edge of
hard,
your,
though.
the edge of your, is it what's called that?
My
Your
index.
index finger is like solid.
Yeah, and I'm so proud. It's been years in the making. And when I wanted to be a jazz cello player, there was some things I had to learn how to do, and mainly just open up my ears, like so I can listen. But the other one was to build up a callus on my index.
So it's not very ladylike then.
Right. Yeah. But when you think about what ladylike is, that's a whole other conversation, really. I mean, I was just hearing my neighbors' little girls. They're like 2 and 4 and 5, and they're screaming so loudly that it was almost making my walls shake from the outside to the inside of my house, And then you think about like all these girl punk bands, and you see where it comes from. It's just letting your inner child, inner girl, inner childlike spirit out. Well, I think that playing music should be as free as feeling that light and that inspired and that creative as being a kid.
I think that's probably why we all love to go hear music.
Yeah.
Because we all want to experience that sort of, you get that freedom for an hour or 2 hours, and then you walk out of there going, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to actually do it. It must be a whole other experience when you're
It's
actually a
so much
musician.
fun. Yeah, and it's easy to lose sight of that, no matter what you're doing for a living, But I mean, even as a musician, you can easily lose sight of that, and I've had to rein it back in, like keep myself in check. Like, why are you treating this like a job all of a sudden? Like, don't forget to have fun up there, because, and I've caught myself a couple times, so. And especially for my band's sake, I look over, and if I don't see my bandmates smiling, I'm not doing something right,
Yeah, I guess if you can't enjoy yourself playing music, there's not much left up there. Although I would think being a trial attorney must be a hell of it.
Yeah, I would.
That must be a
love
great
to
gig.
Whip out my cello in court and really shock the hell out of them.
Do
Don't
it.
take this, judge. Yeah.
But that must be a really interesting job because you're
Yeah.
kind of a performer as well.
You are on stage. I had a
Yeah.
9-hour trial Tuesday, and the
Wow.
moment you took
Wow.
the stage until the moment the curtains closed in closing arguments, you're on stage.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute then, because when you're on stage, you're playing the part of a character
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't bear much resemblance to the truth. It's just internally true to the character, the way it's written. Do you find that the truth has anything to do with what you're doing? Are you trying to tell the truth, or is it more important to tell a convincing story?
It depends how much I like opposing counsel. No, I'm teasing. No, I mean, obviously you want to tell the truth, but the truth is, the perspective is different for each side.
Well, are you a defense attorney? You're a defense attorney, I
It
see.
depends. Tuesday, it was a custody battle. I was fighting for Dad. Dad won. But it was an opposing counsel that I particularly didn't care for, and a mom that I thought wasn't a great mother. So it made the job a whole lot easier to get up there and literally go to war.
Yeah, but I'm paying you to represent me, so I'm
Yeah.
expecting you to do your best whether you like the opposing attorney or not, surely,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I do. But there are some times that you just know that, sometimes people are fighting over which lamp's ours. I mean, I think,
So you do a lot of divorce stuff like that?
yeah. At the end of the day, does it matter who got the lamp? Probably not. It's not changing anybody's life. But what happened on Tuesday was 3 little boys, and it changed their life, what happened. So
Well,
that's a
in
different...
a case like that, when you're representing a guy, in this case, and he's paying you to represent him, this is why I'm asking you, is it more important for you to win or to tell the truth? Because you're playing the part of a trial attorney who you often get the impression from watching this on TV and the movies is that they'll say anything.
Yeah, I don't think that's true in real life.
It's not.
It's not. And a lot of times the judge will call us into chambers and say, kind of, all right, what's really going on? Like, y'all tell me the scoop. And we'll kind of, tell them our client's perspective. Sometimes, when you feel like you have kids, though, you really are. It's an emotional fight for me, too, even as the attorney. So I know we're not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be disconnected. But I have 2 little boys. So,
Well, that's the question, is how much is a performance and how much is it...
yeah.
I mean, it makes a difference what sort of a performer you are, right? If we go see
Right.
Helen play, if she's smiling and having fun and enjoying herself and projecting, and you makes you enjoy the music more. I
Right.
think the audience.
Right.
Is it the same with you? If you're a charismatic, good-looking, or whatever it is person, does it make your case stronger?
I think it does. I know that's sad, and maybe it shouldn't, but it does. And sometimes I'm in court, and a lot of times people don't realize that they have, for lack of a better word, the crappy lawyer, until you're in the middle of the trial. You're like, oh, no, I've got the crappy lawyer. And it's too late.
Okay, well, how would we know we're going to get the crappy lawyer before? I'm serious about that.
No, really. I
Anyone
know, it's
listening to
hard.
this who's thinking about hiring an attorney,
Yeah.
how do we know?
It's in that interview when you meet them. I think a lot of people go in and they have the attorney that seems cold or hard, and they just assume there's no alternative. Don't. Go find an attorney that you feel like you can call or email at 3 a.m, and that's your girl or guy. Hire that person that you can feel a personal connection with, because people don't. And like, well, I don't know. I just hired the first, he seemed nice.
He seemed like a ball buster and a cold, heartless asshole, but
Right.
that's not who
Right.
you want.
It's not necessarily who you want. It depends what you're trying to get.
Well, you want someone to represent you who's going to be a cold, heartless asshole and screw the
Yeah.
other person is what you're looking for in
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
But the person who you're interviewing, you don't want to get that impression from. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you want to feel like you're with somebody that you're going to be giving them a lot of money and a lot of your time, and you're putting whatever it is that you're going to court for, something important for you, whether it's property or your kids or
You want to
whatever.
win. Everybody wants to
You
win.
want to win, absolutely.
But I don't want to be in the middle of the trial and realize, hey, my attorney sucks.
Yeah,
That must
it
be
happens.
yeah.
It's going to be the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah,
must.
yeah, it is.
So
Oh,
do
I
a-
picked the wrong one.
I know.
How do we
Well,
get that one?
My trial Tuesday, she was on her 6th attorney in about 14 months. So I think every time, sometimes it's not always the attorney that loses. It's
Yeah.
who you are. It's the facts of your case. You can't just blame the lawyer. But sometimes you do get there and you realize, oh no. My attorney doesn't have things organized. Everything's crammed, paper sticking out everywhere. If their desk looks like that, you probably should just move on to another one.
So that's a key as well.
Yeah.
Neatness.
Organization.
Organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this
Yeah.
has been a pretty instructive little conversation
Yeah.
here,
That's a
actually.
good tip. I appreciate that.
Hey, listen, we have to get out of here in a minute, but Travis, I know that you're a musician as well.
Yeah, you
and
do know that.
and we stole a guitar off the stage here at Casa Borrega that Hugo had left up there. So there's a whole bunch of beautiful guitars here.
Yeah.
So we have to get out of here, but can we ask you to play something for us before we go?
Sure. What do you want to hear?
What do you play? I don't know anything about your
man.
music at all. What sort of stuff do you play?
I also improvise.
Okay.
I mean, Helen, do you want to try to play something?
Oh my goodness, that would be awesome.
Or
Oh,
something?
that
I
would
don't
be-
Why don't you start? And,
Okay.
let's hear what you got.
know. Okay.
Thank you very much. That was a very pleasant surprise indeed. You guys had not rehearsed that at all, really, right?
No.
No, I just met. We just met
I know.
today.
And
About
we
an
didn't.
hour
I didn't even
About
know
an
you.
hour ago.
I didn't even know you played the guitar until 1 minute before we hardly came on the show here.
Yeah, I heard there was a phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a great
Graham, our
voicemail,
producer, figured it out. So that was great.
Thanks.
Listen, thank you so much, Yul. That was a great show, everybody.
Yeah.
That's Happy Hour for another week. Thanks for joining us down here.
Thank you. This has
at
been
Casa
great.
Borrega. Our guests today, sitting around the table here, have been Arita Bohanan, Angela Catalano, Travis Bird, and Helen Gillet. And there's links to all their stuff that you've heard today on our website, itsneworleans.com. Go and check that out. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director, and Joshua Brown is our music coordinator. The theme song that you're listening to was written and is being played by Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of the show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. For more information about their wide range of sound recording equipment and software, you can check them out at presonus.com. If you'd like to be on our show, you can sit upright around the table for about an hour and play the cello or guitar. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website, where you can also check out many other happy hour shows to listen to, as well as other shows on itsneworleans.com. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic. True to the Game with Chris True and Tammy Nelson. Vietnam, our show about the New Orleans Vietnamese community with Kim Vu and Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss and the Man Who Ate New Orleans. Ray Canada. You can keep up with us on Facebook, on Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media. On all of it, where It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by the fabulous Douglas Engel, who today is wearing red beads. If you listen to this show on iTunes, Stitcher, Swell, or some other podcast app of your own choosing, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment to rate and review us. That really does help other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Casa Borrega on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in Central City, New Orleans. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter as well. You can also find them for real down here. Come and have a cocktail or listen to some live Latin jazz or an excellent Mexican meal. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. Andrew Duhon will be back here next week. Until then, from all of us around the table and back at the INO office, I'm Grant Morris. Thanks so much for joining us on Happy Hour. We'll see you next time.
Do you have $1 hanging out in your pocket right now? Do you also have a phone in there? Well, with the 7-Eleven app, you can use that $1 on any size hot beverage, including all coffee blends, hot chocolate, and lattes. Then you can make it yours with any combination of dairy and non-dairy creamers, flavors, and sweetener combinations. Coffee your way for just $1 with the 7-Eleven app, plus tax where applicable, only at participating 7-Eleven locations.